So on the detective side, when you're in there, is it 5 years, 10 years before they'll want to do that, or?
No, well, typically an agency is like this. You come in as a patrol level.
Mm-hmm.
Some agencies are a little different. You might have an officer in charge or a corporal, say, before a sergeant, and they might say that somebody's a lieutenant. In Chicago area, a lieutenant is a shift supervisor. Where I'm from, a sergeant is the shift supervisor, and a lieutenant is what would be the deputy chief.
Okay.
So their layers are deeper there, but sometimes they just use a name to make it sound a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in as a patrol officer, and if you have the aptitude and you show ability, within my agency, it was not a promote. Anything that wasn't to sergeant was simply an assignment. So K-9, riding bikes, school resource officer, detective, things like that. Crime scene tech. I was a crime scene tech. Firearms instructor. There's just so many different things you do, but you're still a patrolman or a patrol officer level at that.
I've heard. Do you get to choose? Do you get to choose what you to be a K-9, to go into the correction, to be in the inventory? Do you get to choose that, or is it assigned to you?
It's assigned to you. What people would get would be a letter saying, the chief of police saying, you're assigned to this. I've got a few of those letters and can look back on the dates. You're being assigned to this at the will of the chief, because you weren't promoted into that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't through merit and promotion. It was, I see your abilities. I want to develop you. Let me put you in detectives. Let me put you in K-9. Let you be a defensive tactics instructor, a taser instructor, an active shooter instructor. There's all those things that a patrol officer can get involved in, which is very fulfilling, and it adds flavor. When they're not out in the squad car answering calls, that's something extra that they can do.
Okay.
But a detective, then you're assigned there, yes, but it's at the will of the chief. If you're put into the drug task force, I always recommended no more than 3 years in the drug task force, even no matter how good they're doing. They might be the best at all of it and making big cases, but you got to consider the person's life. That's a completely different life. I did 12 and a half years in detectives, 2.5 years. They always tease me about being the kitty cop. I was the youth detective. But every child abuse case that came through, guess who owned it? I got it. Started a teen court, started explorers to kind of balance things out for diversions for those arrested as juveniles. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the next 10 years in detectives, then I was there at the will of the chief. And then now that's a completely different aspect on things. I don't know if we want to go that direction yet.
Yeah.